Now is your time to flex. Animal crackers.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 13th floor where the furniture isn't always the best, but the views are amazing. I am your moderator, B. Jones, and today I got a full team with me today.
Squad up
on them. Introducing first, our beloved intern, Jay Dace. What's happening?
What's going on, man? Trying to beat these sniffles right now. I'm working at the pediatric office.
It looked like you're trying to save some money on your electric bill. That's what it looked like.
Well, you know, when you don't feel good, you all of a sudden you're cold and you're hot. So this might come off mid podcast, but we'll see what happens.
You got on the footies,
booties, and the mittens.
All right, okay.
I'm stop. Face on.
Who getting introduced next?
Face on. What's happening, man? You got a lot going on back there.
Yes, sir. Did a little redecorating. Took a little hiatus between babies and moving, but I'm glad to be back and glad to be to the true background that there is chez la Faison.
And it's glorious.
It's glorious. Excited. Very excited.
Killing everybody's back.
You feel me? I'm back here with the pink sheets and stuff.
I'm trying to get over the closet with my head.
I had sheets prior, so don't worry. I went from sheets to a wall. So
upgrading this thing.
You can do it too.
Exactly.
Mike D.
You know that means that you're gonna get relocated soon, right? Because you put that together thinking that you're not moving anytime soon.
I'm giving it 3 years. I'm putting 3 years.
I was say, man, I don't know if I want to move that too many more times. Now that looks like expertly crafted.
I can tell the detail and fine craft.
Yes. You feel me?
He put some thought into that.
Based upon genre, genre and people and categories and you know the Philly fanatic is right in the middle.
It looks like you're supposed to grow old over there, man. Like it doesn't look like it should be touched.
3 years. And then I'll put it in the wall. The claim story.
Forever young.
Easy. Moving right along. Mike D, what's happening over there in the corner, bro?
Road dog, road.
Root to the Q's. He's happy to be here. BJ, what's going on down bottom, man?
Everything's good, brother. Everything's good.
You good, man? You sure? You want to talk about it?
Nah, everything's good, bro.
Okay. DJ, Barry B. Fresh, what's going on?
You know what time it is. We are excited. We are ready. Let's do it. Showtime, baby.
Let's get it. Carol Cadillo, Mr. Fledgeology, what's going on?
What it do, man? Hey, it brings a tear to my eye to see everybody here this week.
It's amazing, right? It seems like I missed the right podcast to come back on this one. Yes.
You see, that's how much you were missed. That everybody was just like, okay, maybe if we all come on, Brett will come back.
But y'all did an amazing job without me, man. Kudos to you guys, man. I really appreciate y'all affording me that opportunity to step away. Y'all handle business as usual. So great, man. We want to get right back to it.
Hey, man, you set us up for success, so we appreciate you.
There it is, man. There it is. We want to continue our series on self-discovery. If you haven't already, go back a couple episodes. We had one on defining yourself, and then after that, we brought on last week Purvis Taylor, where we talked about accepting yourself. So you catch those 2 episodes, get you caught up to date. Because today we're going to be getting into presenting and maintaining yourself and going through a little bit of what that takes or what it takes to do those things. And really, I want to start where you guys, on one point you guys left off on. I think, Carol, you might have mentioned it, but I thought it was very poignant. It was very important when you said who you are may not be for everybody else. And I thought that was, it was really, really critical or really important because when you start to present yourself, you're going to have a certain amount of critics. So what I want to see you guys fresh, I'll start with you first, especially being the DJ of the group and then, having your entrepreneur thing on the side. Like I reversed that.
Actually, his entrepreneur thing is not on the side. Just for the record. I don't think any of it's on the side.
But no, man.
He's got big squares on his tray. There's no little squares. There's just big squares.
But no, I want to pose the question, man, how do you go about handling the critics? Because as we just stated, who you are may not be for everybody. So how you go about handling that as a DJ?
As a person, I've come to understand that nobody pays me but me. Nobody is going to, at the end of the day, it's about me respecting and loving myself and who I am. And, it's not going to be for everybody. It's like food. When I was young, I didn't like onions because my mom didn't like onions. I grew up and realized I had a taste for onions. They're not for everybody, but they're still there. I'm not going to allow somebody else's, distaste or maybe not being able to understand who I am or how I decide to present myself affect, the basis of who I know I am.
Right. So when you get into that though, you get like you want to reach the masses. I would assume, and when you presenting yourself, putting yourself out there, I think the goal would be to touch as many lives as possible. Does it ever come a point in you guys' lives where you're listening to those voices, not just for the growth and development, but for anything else that you might be able to get out of those voices or those critics?
But I think that's the flaw. I think the flaw is people thinking that they're supposed to touch the masses, and you're not necessarily supposed to touch the masses. You're supposed to touch the people that you're supposed to touch.
Mm-hmm. I think too many people assume that they can do not necessarily way more than is possible, but assuming that they are going to be some all-encompassing whatever they choose to, go after. And no matter what you do, there is not 100% acceptance rate. I don't care what it is. There is not a 100% acceptance rate. And so understanding that, it's about being able to, I don't think there's anything wrong with listening to critics, being able to understand and see, sometimes you might find some insight and some self-reflection that allows you to become a better person. But that doesn't mean that you should allow naysayers to put you in spaces that don't allow you to continue to progress.
That's, I'll say the same thing. It's like you can listen to everybody. It's just how you take it in and react to them. That's on you. In fact, the critics, no matter if they're for building you up or for tearing you down, no matter what, every single message, something can be taken away from it. You just don't have to do nothing with it. You process it and let it go, or process it and do something with it.
Yeah,
that choice has to be on you, though.
Yeah, and it also depends on what you're doing. Like if what you're doing is positive and it's for good, then the critics obviously are on the opposite side of that. So if what you're doing is negative, then maybe the criticism you do want to take into consideration and think about your motives and kind of where you're going, what's your ultimate goal.
And I just think if you are being your unique self, if you're being you, you're always going to have critics because nobody else knows what that experience is like to be you. Nobody interprets things the way that you do 100%. So you're always going to have people that disagree with who you are or try to influence you to be somebody different.
And a great example is, excuse me, I am, corporate fresh and I am DJ fresh. There's a difference in both settings, but both settings are still authentically me. And in those settings, if someone from the opposite side saw me in the opposite one, they may be like, wow, I didn't know he was able to do that. I don't think it would be a distasteful, like, wow, he's just totally off the bar. But, there is a difference while both are still authentically me. However, I wouldn't allow anybody to distract me from still keeping that base.
And that's the beauty of it, right? I mean, especially when you talk about using your experiences. And I think, Jay, you hit on this point last week when it comes to being tangible and, letting yourself live through your experiences, letting yourself live through your scars, as Pastor Carl Lentz, those are his words, but that's exactly what we talk about when we're presenting ourselves. So becoming tangible and utilizing that unique experience. So you don't want to take away from that to lose your credibility, so to speak, but also lose your following. You want to let all of that come out naturally.
Yeah, like something I heard, actually, it's funny you say Pastor, Bishop T. Jake said was, when you know who you are, then you know who you are not. So there's definitely going to be the critics, but how to, I guess, filter through those different messages because you know who you are, you have that foundation. Like Fresh said, he can do both because he has that foundation and he knows what to come back to. So nobody can really question, well, I thought you were corporate fresh, or I thought you were, DJ fresh. I'm both, you know what I mean? Like, and it's due to having that foundation. And that's why I think a lot of people really need to start at, obviously, where we started.
Yeah, y'all talking about pastors, and what I thought was really profound at one time was Pastor Troy said, "Ain't no more play in GA."
Please elaborate on that, sir. Exactly. I ain't even gonna throw you under the bus. Shout out to Pastor Troy. Yeah, that used to ride. So I got a question, man. So when we talk about, I think we kind of mentioned the dualities, right? How do you deal with mixed messages? And
I want to stop you there because I don't think it's a duality. It's more like you're giving people different levels of an access card, so they can only access certain levels of you. So not everybody can get up to the 13th floor. Some people are going to stop at the 10th. Some people are going to stop at the 11th. And because they can't ride with you that far, they can't, they're not ready for that experience.
Exactly.
For whatever reason. So I don't think it's a duality as much as Fresh said, it's still authentic Fresh. Mm-hmm. Whether it's DJ Barry B Fresh or it's corporate Fresh, still the same person. It's just that you're not ready for that exposure.
Okay.
But that goes back to like one of the first episodes too, okay, when you were talking about how if you have to, first of all, it falls on that individual. If you feel you have to be somebody else around different people, then you're not true to yourself. I forget which episode it was, but that was back before we was even on the video. That was like for the first early podcast.
Straight podcast.
If you have to change who you are in different settings and the real you can't shine through, then you're not being your true self around somebody, and you need to figure out who that true self is.
Right.
Figure out how you can capitalize on that.
And you might be in the wrong setting because you're not prepared for the access to that setting. So and that's one of the things where you have to get the foundation of who you are to really understand what your strengths and your weaknesses are, so that you can move forward.
Right. I was going to say, it's not there's no energy or thought put in the transition from one realm to the next, from one space to the next. That's the thing about it. That's where the authenticity comes, is that it's not about me trying to be corporate Fresh. It's just that I am different in that setting. What's accessible to me, what's going on, how I need to explain things, who I'm, how people are focused on me, as opposed to when I'm entertaining somebody and, trying to maintain the center of attention.
And that's kind of what I was trying to get to, because you'll have, people, entertainers, people in life where, even myself, I can say someone on the outside looking in who doesn't necessarily know Brett to its full extent could say that there are certain settings or certain areas of life where I may be sending some sort of mixed message because I enjoy certain parts of life, but I understand that there are certain settings where certain things are more permissible, or where business needs to be taken care of. So in a sense, the mixed messages that we may send sometimes in life, how do you guys deal with that?
I don't think there's such a thing as a mixed message unless you have a mixed message within you internally. If you're someone that you still hear an internal voice, then that's a very good indicator that you're not being who you are, because it should be like a choir in your being. There should only be one voice. You're not doing a solo, right? Mm-hmm. So it's unison, and you should never have multiple voices going on. And if you do, that's a very good indicator that you're not being your true self, because your true self is actually speaking to you and saying, hey. And if you're hearing that, hey, then you got a problem. So I would say there's not a mixed message. However, you do have mixed audiences. Mm-hmm. And depending on who you're talking to, if it's a one person and they're receiving a mixed message, well, that's a good indicator that maybe that person may not be one with themselves. They may not be centered. If it's multiple people, then you're now dealing with multiple levels of engagement and multiple levels of access.
Different perspective too. It may be that that person that you're talking, that audience is a specific part of yourself. That's the work Brett. They don't, and I'm not saying you're different, but they don't get to see you outside of that environment. So how they see you interacting with customers and staff on a regular basis, and if they see you interacting with somebody else on the outside, in essence should be the same way, but they don't see you with your family. They don't see you with loved ones or other aspects of your life on a regular basis. If you hanging with the brothers, that's not a duality, but that's a different aspect. Again, when you look at your environment, kind of dictates what comes out and what's allowable.
And that's really how I look at it. And I think, Curl, you made a really good point when it came to the voices inside of you. So if you feel like you're fighting inside of yourself, then yes, absolutely, you're probably sending mixed messages versus a person just having different characteristics or different ways that they decide to express themselves in different moments. So I think the key there is, figuring or discerning the difference between the two so that you're not the one giving off the mixed messages. Because I'll tell somebody, if we're looking at, my life in a vacuum, like I am this person, like there's been mistakes that I've probably made or that I have made, but at the core, like if I'm going out or if I'm in a business setting, like that is still me 100% of the time.
Right.
And I think it also comes back to the person that's making the assumption about you. Oftentimes they think that they know the 100% of who you are. Therefore, in their mind, they're saying you shouldn't, or I've never seen you like that. When in reality, I mean, it's a couple of pages in a whole book. So there's no way that you can know everything that is going on in your life from the time you were infant toddler until you are as of your age now. So that whole life spectrum creates who you are as Brett, creates who each one of us are. And for people that are just with you in a moment of time, they can't assume that, what took place, like Fresh said, when he was younger, his mom didn't like onions. And now he does. So if you didn't know that, you wouldn't know kind of how he's transitioned through life, just to come to discover, hey, yeah, I eat onions. And for it to be something that was different.
Yeah, and before you go on, there's something I want to hit on. So I'm glad Faison came back because now there's 4 Greeks on the podcast. And I think if people were to seek out life in their environments, the way that you go about finding the frat that you should belong to, the fraternity you should belong to, then you would never find yourself in an environment where you were uncomfortable or where you had to fight yourself. So for you 4 gentlemen, there were things about the frat that attracted you, and hopefully you looked at the core values of the fraternity, and it wasn't that you were seeking those core values, but those core values match with who you were. And it was just something to further project and bring out those values that you had in you. And I think if people approached life that way, you would never end up in a situation where you were uncomfortable. You would never, either one of you Qs would never just decide, I'm going to go move in with a bunch of Sigmas and life's going to be great, right? Because there's just going to be some core fundamentals there that it's going to create problems for you.
It's going to be great for me. It might create some problems for them, but
And that's been the biggest thing that I've told when people come and ask, like, no, I want to join your frat. It's like, no, you don't. Like, it's not for you to go and decide that you want to be an Omega because, it's not within you. If you don't already feel like you have that bond with the people that, you want to be a part of the fraternity with, regardless of what it is, Omega, Alpha, Kappa, Sigma, it doesn't matter. You have to have a bond with those individuals and be like-minded. And if you don't have those principles, then, you got friends that you've been with since you were little. Still kick with your friends and be who you with.
Yep. That leads right into one of my 2 points is all of us, have that difference of how we are with our spouse and then how we are with our homeboys. And It's not that you are trying to create these 2 different realms. It's just when you are with your friends, there's a different type of level of how they know you and things going on. And the same thing with your spouse. It's not that they probably don't know pretty much a lot of the same stuff. However, there is a difference in the way that you react because we've all had the look of, why are you so happy with your friends And never
Fresh
laugh.
gonna always take it there, boy.
Never laugh like that around me.
Don't know. Watch the podcast, so we good anyway. Don't matter.
Or
I should say that out loud, but they do.
You know, you've heard me talk about it before. Is living with intent, and I think a lot of misinterpretation comes when people take the wrong intent from what you are doing or what you're presenting, and I don't think you need to carry some sense of failure because somebody took the wrong intent. If you didn't intend.
That's gonna be great for that thing.
So if you don't intend to offend somebody or intend for them to receive what you've said or what's going on the way that it was received, there might be a lack of communication, but you shouldn't get so down on yourself because they received it the wrong way. Living through intent and understanding, hey, my intent was not the way that you received it, and being able to explain yourself will take you a lot further.
I want to go back to something Kay said a minute ago too, because you made a great point about aligning yourself with the fundamentals that you saw that was already within you, that you hopefully saw in the organization. But I think we can all say, no matter what your situation was, you've known somebody who's become a member of some organization, and then all of a sudden they've changed.
So
a true depiction of them. Well, either you don't know if it was true depiction before or what they evolved to afterwards. A lot of times it's a self-conscious thing, a self-image issue. But when that happens, I think that core alignment is not there. You can kind of tell those are honestly individuals later on who either denounce everything or just kind of fade away because it was something for right then in the moment, for something for that image on that college campus right then and there.
Well, we know what's going on. The letters made that person.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. They didn't. First of all, they didn't have a really good definition going in, but then as well, I was gonna pose a question about changing who you are versus adapting to your environment. And is there really a difference between the two, or how do you kind of tread that line? But when you talk about joining an organization or joining even an employer, joining
getting
a relationship, right?
Yeah.
No, there's definitely a difference in changing who you are and adapting. I mean, because naturally, that's what we do as human beings. We adapt. It's a survival instinct. We have to. But as far as changing who you are as an individual, you can literally become somebody different just to make the situation you're in better. And that fits back what Kay was saying in the sense of making the situation or making whatever it is that you're involved with, making you fit that as opposed to making that fit you. So I think
there's a difference between adapting and evolving. And so it's whether or not you're adapting and adjusting.
Man, we going deep here.
Or you're evolving because you are realizing, there are parts of you that need to be better, that are, can be better from what's going on, and that you can take pieces in order to grow. We all should grow. We all do grow. We all should learn. We all should continue to learn.
I think
You rusty Faison, get in. Go.
Yeah, I know. I'm about to jump in. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm having some internet issues. All right, cool. And
Sounds
see
great.
me move.
We can't hear you with that amazing background.
It's so glorious behind you.
So I know, right? It's causing too many problems. But I think capturing what everyone else said is kind of like when you go back home after you've been at college and you kind of go back to your friends. You can jump back and adapt. Like for instance, for myself, I can go back to Philly and immediately jump into slang and words and attitudes and movements that I had when I was in Philly, so I can adapt to that mindset. But I've evolved in the way that I think about it after I'm saying it, because I may come back here in Jersey and it's gone. I've totally forgot saying that, but then occasionally I may slip. When I was in Best Buy, for instance, and I was saying John and didn't know, but my mom was here for 2 weeks, so she was saying it to me. So I grasped that and adapted to that environment that was around me. But then once she was gone, it was a lost art. But the ability to go back and forth, that we're saying, to jump into one situation, adapt to that, but then move forward and grow as you go to college. And I mean, my vocabulary, my mannerisms, everything's grown since I was in Philly. But you still have that in you to be able to go to that when time comes and then go back to your process.
And it has to be
Take the
authentic.
brother out the hood, but you can't take the hood out.
And that's what I mean. It's got to be authentic. I mean, if you ain't from the hood and you go down there and you start to fake it, you get hurt. So I mean, you got to be able to really be authentic about who you are and not try and change and be a stereotype. But I think, for those within organizations, those outside, those within marriage, whatever life, if you're following the stereotypes, you're not being authentic to yourself. And that's when you get called out because you're not being true. And eventually it's going to show itself.
I liken it to video games and video game characters. And many of you have played in a story mode where you start out with a certain level of characteristics. Those characteristics don't change. You just enhance them. So whether it be agility, endurance, fighting skill, as you go through the game, you enhance those things for every new situation you get into. So I would like to input that it's not about adapting or changing. It's about enhancing who you are and getting to a different degree of who you are constantly. So just because we say to be who you are, well, that doesn't mean that you just stay that person from the beginning of time until the end. You're going to go through and you're going to constantly enhance who you are as you go through. And in situations come along and environments come along to help you continue to enhance. And it's up to you to find those things that will help you do so.
And I think that I know I do want to pull us off to the next topic. So just before we slide in, that brings me back to one of my my CMO who mentioned to me that, hey, no matter what you do, no matter how far you go, never change who you are. So I can continue to enhance to get bigger positions, move up the ladder. But the core that Carol, that you mentioned, that core about you should only get stronger and stronger. It should never change based on your environment. That's what made you you. And no matter where you are, that's always going to be you.
Exactly. Always present yourself in that authentic fashion, man. Don't pay too much attention to the critics. You've already defined yourself. You have accepted that person. We're talking about presenting yourself. So present yourself in an authentic fashion. Because if you're doing so and it feels right on the inside, you have that solidarity with that one voice, that one voice.
For real. For real.
Aria has to adjust for all those watching.
That was
you saw
all right. Since you came off of mute and just kind of like wrecked my whole point here, presenting yourself authentically or in an authentic fashion. I want to go next to how do we maintain that throughout our lives? What is it that we can do to maintain what we are presenting? And for me, I would say always looking for the influences, the positive influences or the things that are going to add value to whatever it is that you have decided you are. The saying goes, and I hope I don't get this wrong, like you are the average of like your 5 closest friends or whatever, right? So when you're taking an inventory of who the people are around you and you look at them, and if that doesn't align with you excelling or evolving or enhancing yourself, you might want to start looking at these things and trying to make some changes, start trying to evolve in that aspect. So that's one thing I would say you would do to maintain that presentation, to maintain that core, that person that you are. What do you guys think?
I think being accepting of evolving and understanding that, the things that you did last year are not necessarily the things that you're going to do this year. And understanding that you don't have to like the same thing for life. You don't have to hate the same thing for life. You don't have to, stay away from, something that you're uncomfortable with for life. And you might find out that thing that you were uncomfortable with actually helps you grow as a person, and it might actually be something that you enjoy.
I think the saying goes, oh man, I think I lost it. I think I got it back. The saying goes,
he's rusty, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry about it.
It's bad. Are you doing the same job for 3 years? Or are we done 3 different jobs in 3 years? And that's the mindset you are. Like, you gotta be able to move on and adjust.
It goes back to, there's one word I've talked about with education for a while now, and it goes back to the teacher, but also the students, metacognition. That's awareness and understanding of one's own thought process. You have to be aware of what's going on and what's going on in your surroundings, your thoughts, how they're being affected, how you're acting on those thoughts at every single minute of the day, every single action, and every event that you're a part of. So things can happen and things can change the thought process, but how you react and how you understand how you reacted is going to define how you evolve and who the person you become.
Yeah, because I was
Mike.
Boom. Yeah, I was gonna say self-reflection. I mean, you gotta continually do that. It's tedious. It's sometimes you have to focus on it and you have to be intentional about it. But often and frequently self-reflect and kind of see where you at and do some examination of your life path and make sure that it is where it's supposed to be.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think that so you all mentioned the people around you. I think you also have, we talked about environment earlier. Environment's very important as well. And then what Mike's kind of alluding to is we laugh or we kind of mock people that meditate because we don't understand the whole purpose of meditation. And I kind of mentioned it earlier. When you have so many voices inside of you, you have more than one voice. There's no way you could be centered. And I think meditation, whether you do it for 2 minutes or 20 minutes, it allows you to do that self-check to see if you're aligned and if you're really being who you are. Because I said, if you're being who you are, then there aren't multiple voices. There's only one voice. And Brett, you're going to laugh, but I think we all have to adopt an internal one voice policy. And that's how we have to move forward.
I was just gonna say, make sure if you're listening, he did say meditate, not medicate.
No, don't medicate. Well, even though, hey, listen, some people do indulge in medicated meditation. It helps you get to that level, and you've got to wonder. I mean, people talk about the things that they're able to think about and do when they are under the influence, when they're medicated. And I don't have any doubt, because at some point you get to drown out all the other noise and you're so focused. So for some people that's what it takes. But I would challenge people to look into it, try it. You never know until you're seated in a room by yourself and there's nothing else going on.
I'm gonna come back to that medicate thing, because that's really it's really true, man. I was reading a religions book and they kind of talked about how the shaman reached those higher levels of spirituality through meditation.
Burning sage and all types of stuff.
Exactly. But
Sage and Juana.
I definitely want to give J-Day an opportunity to jump in there real quick before we transition on out of this thing.
No, man, I think that it's about make sure you're putting the right gas in the vehicle. I think that a lot of us, we are premium, like just metaphorically speaking, we're premium vehicles. Like we're the Bentleys of the world, we're the Rolls Royces, and we're trying to run off of unleaded. So like that's not going to get you to where you want to go. So when you're trying to sustain who you are and you're trying to keep it up, while you may be able to shine momentarily, eventually you're going to break down. Eventually it's not going to be able to, you're not going to be able to operate on the level that you would like to, because you're not filling yourself with the quality ingredients that it takes to do that.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I was just thinking earlier today when I was getting gas, I need to stop putting this 87 in my Lexus, man, before I end up on the side of the road.
That's what I'm saying, and it leads to it like you, and for the life, it starts stalling out on you, or like you start stalling out on yourself, and for the life of you, you can't figure out why. You're like, why am I stalling? And like, you're not putting in what needs to input equals output. So if you don't like what you're getting, examine what you're putting in.
Hey, stop accepting those, short gains when you want, it's a marathon. You want the long distance, and being able to save that couple of cents at the pump when you're talking about like a quarter, 50 cents at most when you're pumping, that it's causing more long-term damage to your vehicle, that you're really losing out instead of gaining the bonus of saving that 50 cents.
Shame.
While we on the topic of, short-term and long-term gain, I have to give my man Crypto Fresh, the floor to come on give us some of this cryptocurrency since we had to phase out the Fresh Jam. We was getting a little too much flack.
It's what happens. They out there watching.
They want to let him be great. That's all.
They want to try to not let me be great and be who I naturally am. But as I told you before, I'm able to just go ahead and transition myself into some of my other, passions. One of them happens to be cryptocurrency. Bitcoin, everybody's buzzing, talking about it. What is it? What does it do? Why is it so important? Is it fake money? Is it real money? How do we, what's going on? Bottom line, it is a cryptocurrency. So cryptocurrency is a currency that is decentralized and not backed by a government or by gold or anything like that. So it's owned by the people. So it's a currency that is owned by the people, and it has a system of checks and balances that allow it to be, verified and certified that there is, no hacking. There's no people who are able to just essentially create a new amount of coins to go into the pot that's going to allow, forgeries or false money to be able to be created. It's easy to set up. So of course it's something that a lot of people, a lot of institutions are using. There is nothing at all that you cannot purchase with Bitcoin or some of the other alt currencies. So Bitcoin, of course, is the most popular, but there is Ethereum, Litecoin, and over 1,000 other ulterior coins that are all based off of that blockchain technology, which is truly the foundation of what all of them have to offer. And blockchain technology is essentially a publicly updated and verified ledger of all transactions. So what makes Bitcoin and all of these other altcoins so secure and so enticing to investors and to people who need to purchase in products or services is the fact that it is very secure, as it is verified and processed on multiple systems simultaneously, and then blocked and chained into this long exterior, ledger that is publicly accessed, unlike typical banks or any other financial institution you might currently, use money with.
So
go ahead.
I was gonna say, so just to get to like the meat, I mean, I guess, when people are investing, like how do you make money with this? I think that's what that's the main,
always the basis, right? Why am I investing? How do I make bread? All right. There's really 4 ways that you can make money. The first one is what they call hodling or holding your coins. So you literally can set up an account, purchase coins, very similar to stocks. And so you can purchase coins and you can watch the value go up. To give you a little idea of what type of movement we're talking about financially, at the beginning of November, Bitcoin was valued at around $12,000 per Bitcoin. Right now, it is trading at about $16,500, and it was as high as $19,000 within the last 7 days of this podcast. So the values are increasing steadily. There's really a lot of opportunity, but it's not just because of the currency. It's because of the technology that backs the currency and helps it be more efficient and secure, and provides an ulterior way of people to purchase services or products.
Gotcha. So where can we get more information about the cryptocurrency with Crypto Fresh?
Of course, I'm nice enough to go ahead and set up the cryptowithfresh.com, Crypto with Fresh. So that's CRYPTO with fresh.com. You go there, you can get a lot of great information. I share a lot of, the different investments I'm involved in, but more importantly, I try to break down really what Bitcoin is a little bit further, what the value of blockchain is, and getting into some of the other ways that you can make money. I know we only talked about holding the coin, but there's lending opportunities, the process of verifying the transactions, which is called mining. There's money to be made there. There's just a myriad of different ways that you can really increase your investments and increase, your own finances through Bitcoin and these alt currencies. It's really been exciting watching the growth, especially over the last year.
Right. So I think what we'll do, we'll try to have like, one like fun fact or one important tidbit of information, each week involving this cryptocurrency to keep our listeners updated. And like you said, if you want to get connected, jump on Crypto Fresh. What was it?
Crypto with Fresh.
Crypto with Fresh.
Or you can find me on Instagram, a crypto named Fresh. But yeah, either way, get in contact with me. I'm very excited about the industry and eager to share my knowledge and to gain more knowledge as well as increase my crypto portfolio as it is ever expanded. We up 28% this month. I'll let you boy.
Hey, I know we putting the fresh jam of the week to rest, but I think in honor of the fresh jam of the week, I got the crypto fresh jam of the week. Here it is.
Drop that.
JD, name it.
Yeah, that's the right amount. Yeah.
I wanna be rich.
No, not about that, Jay. Look at him, blank stare.
Nope. Hey, Zone. Welcome back, man. It's your time.
Yes.
We've been into the arts corner. We've been holding it down. So we glad you're back to lead us through this thing.
Well, thank you. So this, I'm changing it up a little bit. I told you stories of what's going on, what's happening, but I think that going forward, I'm just going to kind of give you guys my thought of the week, and then we can kind of go off of that. This week's thought is going to be compliment at least 3 people per day. One of those people should be your wife, girlfriend, or partner. That's just that. That's this week's Arts Corner.
Okay.
3 a day.
At minimum 3 a day.
Just 3.
Three people, or give that person
You should
3 compliments.
give 3 compliments. You can do it how you wish. Don't go too deep.
Same person.
Yeah.
One of
Yeah.
spouse, your significant
One
other.
should be your spouse.
And then
All right.
Get that one out of the way.
all 3 of
All
them.
right.
But you give all
All right, I like your background.
I appreciate that.
Gate out the gate. We not waiting. We gonna start right now.
Hey, Art, you know why your internet's messing up, right?
Too much going on back here,
All those things back there are trying to speak at one time.
right?
All their voices trying to hit your mic.
It's this section right here. This is the section that's causing the problem. I gotta rotate them higher and bring down
Is that what it
Roger Rabbit. Bring him down to the middle.
You got a
Jessica-
Roger
Jessica.
Oh, he got excited. He said, "Let me show you."
Oh yeah.
Wow. I used to
Jay,
love that
again, mind blown. Jay.
I used to love that movie.
Bruh, I've seen that movie a number of times.
Oh, we forgot your sister made you watch it.
All right. No, hey, I want to ask a question though. Like, I mean, I it's not Arch Corner, but it's I guess it would fall in that category. Yo, is it just me or
Down the street somewhere.
Yeah, around the corner. You know what I mean? But is it?
You're a vagrant on Arts Corner.
I'm a
what y'all called it the other week? The panhandlers?
Yeah.
No, I'm a
derelict.
I'm just walking by. I'm a neighbor.
Like,
I'm a neighbor
like
in his
his on Friday.
in his neighborhood.
What you got, Jay?
Yo, is it just me, or is having one nostril stuff the worst thing in the world?
That's how it works. That's just nature.
No, I feel
Always
you.
that way. It's
I
like
feel
one or the
you.
other. Once
But
one
when you
clears,
got
the
when
other
you
one
got
starts.
one good nostril,
Horrible. It's
that's
horrible.
the worst.
Neti pot, brother. Neti pot.
No,
Wash all that, flush all that out.
it's at its worst when you try to go to sleep.
It's always when you
Yeah.
try to go to sleep.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. It's
It's
something to do with like the dew or the nighttime that your
You
body
become
just.
like a mouth
Yeah.
breather.
I need a doctor. I need a doctor on the podcast. If you listen, come on here and tell me why only one of my nostrils gets stuffy, and it's
Yeah.
always at night.
Or that transition
if
when
we have
when
both,
both of them stuff.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a problem.
that transition.
I've
that
never had
transition.
that.
And you're hoping,
Oh, my
hoping
God.
that it's not going to transition on. Maybe I'm gonna. Oh,
And then,
No,
and
so
then,
this, go
and
ahead.
then
Kay.
what's worse is that in your head, you can hear the air going through the one nostril, and it's so annoying.
What kills it for me is, I don't know, it might just be me.
Ooh.
But is it always the same nostril? Like for me, it is always my left nostril. The right one.
Mine rotates.
It'll rotate
Mine go back and
from one
forth,
to the
man.
other. You start to get
That's
that
the
burn
worst.
on the one that you can breathe with. That you're just like, Jesus, is breathing
And
really
that's
this
like-
much
Does this happen on a
Life
regular
hack.
basis for y'all, or is
No,
it
whenever I'm
just
sick. Whenever I'm sick.
Yeah, cold.
You
And this-
remember 'em,
Funny
man.
thing is, I have not had them in quite some time. Again, since the letting go of the lactose, and not living in a super cold environment. But yeah, I remember the viciousness of that transfer, and just, you know, you're going for a couple hours on that one nostril, and you wake up and that bad boy is burning. You got to put some Vaseline up in your nostril.
It ain't got
Wow,
wrong.
I've
It's so-
never. That's wow. But life hack for you.
Oh yeah.
If your nostril is truly stuffed, use your finger, tip the point of your nose, push it back like Miss Piggy, and breathe. Sucks it right up. No problem.
So like it just gets rid of the
Literally,
What?
just push your nostril up. It somehow opens up the
So
passage.
you gotta stuff
and
your nostril right now, right?
breathe it up.
It's a live test.
I'm not
Live
Yo,
test.
I
No,
asked
live
the- for the
live
nitty part.
test.
Trust me.
Do it, Jay.
Put one,
Do it, Jay.
Bro,
Miss
we gotta
Piggy,
test this out
Miss
to see
Piggy
if-
style. Just put it in.
Because when
Right-
you
right
when you
the
do
point.
that, you're doing nothing but bringing that to the back of your throat and then swallowing it.
We don't swallow it.
Leave the mic on. Leave the mic on.
I got you.
Please.
Oh, it worked, y'all. That's crazy.
That is a life hack. I'm telling you.
appreciate
Somehow it opens up
Hey,
the
hey,
passage.
whoa, AJ, you got something on your sweater.
Hey, listeners, guys, remember you can get connected with us on iTunes, Apple Podcasts. You can catch 13th Floor. We're in Google Play. We're also on YouTube. You can catch the video on Facebook and SoundCloud. So get connected with us, 13th Floor, on all those sites, and on social media at 13th Floor, please. So we already hit on Crypto Fresh. We got J-Days going back live. I think they started last Sunday it was.
Yeah,
So y'all going live again this Sunday? Y'all back on it? Steady?
we're gonna take the rest of the year off, man. We're gonna start back strong. Probably in
Slackers.
January.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Hey man, can you show the people the shirt?
The real shirt, not the one that was on the last go live.
Yeah, can you show the people the shirt so that we can have our audience, you know, maybe reach out and buy a shirt and
Oh, yeah, let me
support?
Because it's going to supporting hurricane relief, ain't it?
You grab the shirt while Carol goes ahead and drops that Coach K gym on you.
Yeah, that K knowledge, man. We coming your way, Coach K. What you got?
Got it. Ladies and gentlemen, we just spent 4 phenomenal episodes, really 3 actually, showing you how to get to who you are. And we started out with defining who you are. Then we went to accepting who you are. And today we covered presenting who you are and sustaining who you are. And we just touched the tip of the iceberg. We really want to be able to help you. I want to be able to help you. We want you to reach out because there are so many of you that every day it's like one of us waiting for our significant other to get ready to go somewhere. There's a time spent putting on this makeup and putting on this mask before you step out. And there are so many of you that maybe you don't even own a makeup brush, you don't own foundation, but you're spending your life putting on makeup and putting on this mask every day when you leave your house, every day when you go somewhere. You're doing things that are not unique to you. And what we really want to do is we want to help you get unmasked, to help you get unleashed, to help you reach to your true self and be who you are. And that's what we want to do. That's what we want to help you do. Go back and listen to these episodes, pull out some of the nuggets, and I guarantee you will go from struggling in your relationship. You will go from struggling in your job. You will go from just struggling in your life. We don't want you to have those multiple voices within inside you. We want you to have that one voice policy, that internal one voice policy that will lead you to being your best self. Some of you can't get to your best self because you don't know who you are. You can't get to that next level because you're struggling with just being who you are from a foundation. And we want to help you set that foundation. So again, reach out to us, hashtag us unmasked to be unleashed. And we'd love to help you.
There it is.
Mike, let me hear that one time. Mike, let me hear that one time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, my dog got up there started preaching on the thing, man. Hit us up, man. 13th floor at fledgeology.com. Carol Cadillo LLC on the Facebook page. My man is gonna help you define who you are, get to that purpose-driven life.
Yes.
J Dace, you got the shirt for us?
I got the shirt, man. I got the shirt. All right, so
Look at the cow.
Look at that.
Oh,
In real life.
Is you, because we are live, baby.
So make sure you go out, live your show, and make it phenomenal.
Where we gonna get that shirt from, Jay?
Yo, you go to we-r-live.myshopify.com. 100% of the proceeds are going to Americares. This organization is a foundation who believes in health. That's what they provide medical relief to victims of natural disasters. And they, on their website, they specifically state they're still supporting and relief of Hurricane Irma, Maria, and Harvey. So, we know that those hurricanes came through, did damage. We will still want to give support. So,
Drop it on them one more time.
we-r-live.myshopify.com. Get connected with us, and we're going to make it happen.
Yeah, we'll actually post that in the show notes.
Yeah.
And hopefully it'll be on the bottom of the video scrolled across the screen.
Look at that. Look at that. Hey, before we get out of here, man, I think we're gonna have to get the Fledgeology wives, spouses, significant others, because I know why mine is that way. So you mentioned, the waiting for your spouse to get ready. At the end of
I wasn't gonna touch that one. 10
Oh man, I'm absolutely gonna touch this one.
I'll jump in, no problem.
I don't understand. And yeah, well, I know why mine does it, but it still don't make sense. But what is it about waiting to the last minute for the female to get ready, and why does it take so long?
I told you, and I think you were the one who defined it the greatest, was the fact that their definition of time is not
space.
Time.
So that's why I say
space. Yeah, it's not. So that's why it's not. There's no. When you say 8 o'clock, like that's not.
It don't resonate.
Yeah, at all. That's not even a factor. It's just like we're doing something tonight. Like, you know
what I think?
We will get there.
You know what I think it is, though? I think there's such a level of pride and enjoyment in applying makeup and getting dressed up that there's no sense of time, because they're enjoying it so much. Like that makes or breaks their evening.
Yes.
If they have a bad session getting ready to go and it doesn't come out the way that they thought, well, you might as well not even go anywhere, because it's not going to get any better, because they're going to feel so self-conscious and like this experience has ruined everything. Again, ladies, that's not who you are. You are not your makeup. You are not Mac.
You are not Mac.
Damn.
Easy,
right.
man. Let's go ahead and get up out of here, man. Thank you all for listening with us here on the 13th floor, where the furniture isn't always the best, but the views are amazing.
49.
Bunga dudes.
Amazing.